Palantir CEO Alex Karp said some pretty shocking things to Wall Street investors that I think you're not going to believe. So let's jump into what he said, and I'll try and talk about what this means for Palantir stock investors.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So in the latest quarterly conference call, Alex Karp, Palantir co-founder and CEO, said it's almost inconceivable to do that many contracts given the way our product used to be. And what you see now is a convergence of our product because it's easier to use. Of course, the company delivered excellent performance in its latest quarter, increasing revenue, increasing profit, increasing customer count, increasing customers in the commercial space. Overall, a really good quarter for Palantir, and that's on top of 4 previous quarters of GAAP profitability on the bottom line. So you can understand the enthusiasm here from Palantir CEO that's harnessing AI to deliver better service to its customers. Going on, he says, you also see just the enormous demand and our ability to meet that demand with the new piloting approach that we call bootcamp. Now, these type of pilots are not new for software companies. They like to go into businesses and show them what they can do. They like to go in and say, look, give us access to your company. Let us look at your data. Let us look at your process and let us see how we can improve your business. You don't have to pay us until we show you what we can do. And once we prove that, then you can purchase our service. And that's what Palantir has been doing. And that's how it's been able to generate so many new customers, is because customers are seeing what Palantir can do. And they're realizing, man, this is pretty good value. We want to go ahead and sign up for this. We like the return on investment we would get if we were to sign up with you, Palantir. He goes on to say there are some caveats. It wasn't all great news. Europe has decided that they're not going to engage in this revolution. And that's been the case for Palantir the last few quarters, the last, I would say, year and a half or so, is the international side of the business is not doing as well as US business, both commercially and institutionally. So the CEO saying, you know what, whatever. The winners are going to win more, saying that whoever goes with us is going to win more. And if Europe decides not to go with this, it's their loss. Goes on to say we're having to rebuild the whole system, our whole company, to deal with this increase in demand. We used to have a small sales force, but now we have to build that into a strong, aggressive machine. So CEO saying like, look, demand is off the chart for our product. We need to get a sales force out there converting sales, converting this demand, turning it into actual revenue, and really just capitalizing on the existing demand that's out there that we're able to serve. So now we have more capacity. We need to have a sales team to go out and convert these sales, to turn this into revenue for the company. Going on, by the way, for those listening who think our strategy is crazy, many of your best people are applying to Palantir right now. So while we might be crazy, we are being bombarded by people who want to work with this company. Bombarded. This was an extraordinary last year. So, I mean, the CEO not holding back here, extremely confident, extremely optimistic. And you might wonder, is it too much? Is the CEO getting ahead of himself? Is he getting a bit too cocky? Is he getting a bit too unrealistic? I don't know. There is evidence to suggest that there is reason for the optimism, although I always get uneasy when I hear CEOs talking like this, speaking of all the great things that are happening with the company and how demand is soaring and all of this and all of that. This reminds me a lot of, now don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing Palantir to this company, but this reminds me a lot of Peloton. Before Peloton's previous management team really invested aggressively in their expansion during the lockdown stages of the pandemic, I remember the CEO talking like this, talking about how demand for its products were soaring, how they couldn't even produce enough to meet all the demand for Peloton's products, and on, talking about how we're playing chess and the competition is playing checkers and how much better we are than everyone else. And this sentiment reminds me a lot of that CEO and the way he was talking. Of course, fast forward, the blunder that Peloton made during the lockdown stage when gyms were closed and demand was soaring. Peloton made acquisitions, made expansions, and when gyms reopened, demand fell off a cliff and Peloton was left with all that extra capacity, all that extra spending. They didn't turn out to be a terrible decision by that previous management team. So this reminds me a lot of that, and I hope this is not what's happening here with Palantir, where on the initial launch of its new AIP product and the rising effectiveness of artificial intelligence, the initial enthusiasm from both the business and government community has increased demand for Palantir's products. And that increase in demand for its products is getting to the management team, making them a bit overconfident, perhaps thinking that this increase in demand is going to continue for several years and it's not a one-time boost, which it might be. It might continue for several years, right? The AI market is expected to grow by multiples over the next decade. And I suspect that will be the case because of the rising effectiveness of AI. However, I think there should be some caution here in not getting ahead of yourself and not going too far ahead. Now, Palantir has done a great job controlling costs as revenue has increased. So they haven't yet made that big spending increase that goes along with this kind of confident speaking. When management teams speak this confidently, typically what follows is an aggressive investment in increasing the size of the business. More people, more facilities, more expansion to serve this increase in demand. And this is what I'm cautious about. Now, Palantir said for 2024, they are going to be profitable again on the bottom line, and they have been profitable for 5 straight quarters on the bottom line. I hope that continues. And I hope the management team doesn't overinvest in growth. The only area I saw from this statement that suggests they are overinvesting was the talk about their sales team. That was an area that I wouldn't be surprised if there's more spending on sales and marketing in Palantir going forward. But that's the only area I saw. I didn't see any talk about making acquisitions. I didn't see any talk about increasing facilities. And so far it's okay. But I always get cautious when I hear management teams and CEOs especially talking this confidently, boasting of their success this much. And so a word of caution. Now, I have recommended Palantir stock as a buy. I had Palantir stock rated as a buy since the beginning of the year. I said Palantir stock was a buy for 2024, and already the stock price has absolutely exploded. Palantir stock over the last year, it's up 200%. Year to date so far in 2024, it's already up 45%. So the stock price has performed really well. Again, adding to the confidence of Palantir CEO as you see the value of your company increase by this much and you see the business improving by this much, it leads to this kind of optimism. Before I let you go, let me tell you about the greatest deal on YouTube. With just a click of a button, you can get free financial analysis from a professor with decades of investing experience. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you again soon.